Diabetes.
The ripping and the tearing.
Good morning.
We're doing live. We're doing live. Good morning, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Coming to you live from Arcane Sublevel 7, it's Talk is Cheap. Now here's your host, Dan Hofeld.
Do it now.
Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host today for this Tuesday, August 6th, 2019 edition, and Dan Hofeld in the house on the K2D4 network. I got my Twitter over there at K2D4 network if you wish to see some retweets or whatever. There's a lot of stuff happening this week. I retweeted a couple things. Very interesting stuff. We were talking in the chat earlier before the show how like these shootings are occurring and all that crazy stuff, and you know, to have two in like a weekend like that just smells like false flag all over it. Again, things are ramping up, and I think the deep state is getting desperate. So of course this is the big week. I'm totally excited here, folks. Gonna fly out this Thursday to ECETI Ranch. Should be there about to the ranch about in the afternoon or so. Got a little room there and all that good stuff. Gonna see some of you, I hope, there. I know a couple of you emailed me saying that you're gonna be out there. Looking forward to that. I'm gonna bring my camera with. Hopefully we see some things. I was listening to James Gilliland's podcast before the show, and then he was talking to Corey Good, and Corey was saying how, well, James Gilliland has that no drug policy. He's like, you don't need drugs because when you get there, you feel all high from the energy. So it's going to be interesting. I want to document all that stuff. Basically, as soon as we cross that bridge, I'm going to say, oh, how do you feel, Pete? And then we'll just document and cover it as we go from there. But it's going to be very, very interesting. We're pretty much guaranteed to see a UFO. So I'm excited for that. I hope we get some daytime footage because that's the stuff I want to get. And that's what's going to make people open their eyes. And also, I'm real excited for the fact that you hear a lot of people who, when they come back, they're actually able to manifest UFOs with their thoughts because they're holding that energy. Does that go away after a while? I don't know, but I'm going to give it a go when I come back and maybe wake some sleeping people up because they really need it. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah.
So, big show today, ladies and gentlemen. I got a UFO video I want to show. It's very interesting. Figured we'd cover it on here. The FBI going against conspiracy theories now. This is including the QAnon stuff in there. And I think this was part of the whole thing where Trump wanted to go after Antifa. And now they're going to lump QAnon in there and just demonize all of it. You question anything, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a threat. So we'll break that down. Also have an interesting article to wrap the day up with a dead body found behind a cooler. I don't know how that happens, but it was there 9 years. That's the unbelievable part. And then I want to get into some Pentagon surveillance balloons that they actually have launched in the Midwest here recently, which I knew nothing about. And I found this article. I'm like, what the hell? And also to wrap up the show, ladies and gentlemen, I got an important announcement about this show, and we'll cover that at the end. Okay, so first things first, jumping into this. Trump tweeted, actually it was today. So he did meet with the damn CEO of Google. So he says, Sundar Pichai of Google was in the Oval Office working very hard to explain how much he liked me. Yeah, do we believe that?
Uh-huh.
And what a great job the administration is doing. What Google was not involved with China's military, and that they didn't help crooked Hillary Clinton over me in the 2016 election. This is just like, these people, like that stuff has been released of them basically like crying and stuff and saying, we don't want this to happen again. Oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. We can't let it happen again. And then he sits there and kisses his ass when he's in the Oval Office all of a sudden. That's what happens. Continuing on, his next tweet says, and that they are not planning to illegally subvert the 2020 election, despite all that has been said to the contrary. I mean, like one of your employees that work at Google. It all sounded good until I watched Kevin Churchgeek, a Google engineer, say terrible things about what they did in 2016 and that they want to make sure that Trump loses in 2020. Ludab stated that this is a fraud on the American public. Peter Switzer stated with certainty that they suppressed negative stories on Hillary Clinton and boosted negative stories on Donald Trump. All very illegal. We are watching Google very closely.
Definitely.
So yeah, you got to watch those people because they run the world. Even though we're just a business, we can do what we want. No, they run the world basically. They control opinions. And it's become a monopoly, and it's become very hard to get your message out there. YouTube channels are dying. It's crazy what's going on. But man, Mike Jackson in chat says, I just want to say for the record, it was I who first mentioned the Wilson doc leak to Dan here in the chat. I don't remember if I got that from you, Mike. I think unless your name is Michael Landsman from the email, because that's where I originally got it from, and they wanted me to break it down and cover it. So if that's you, then it is for sure. But very, very interesting doc, to say the least. So let's move on to the long tweeted also. I think this was yesterday, and then he tweeted today. I want to cover both of these. This is important to the disclosure. So, of course, he's got investment now open once again. Oh, you guys want to invest?
Oh, yeah.
To the Stars Academy is currently working. This is the interesting part. To the Stars Academy is currently working with lead engineers from major departments of defense and aerospace companies pursuing advanced engineering, beamed energy propulsion launch systems, space-time metrics, and warp drive. So that's a lot of stuff there for them to be covering. I went through this, how Hal Putoff is into the Stars Academy, and he is involved in a lot of this stuff. And now they're talking about they're going to be starting to bring some of this out. A couple responses to his tweet. I had to show these because these are very funny. So we got Quadruple A saying, glad to hear you're open to investment monies, even though TTSA doesn't have time to speak to actual alien abductees because we might mention some project you may or may not have. And another response here, this is AdCam1129. No other team than TTSA got more progress to educate the public about UAPs, reality, and technology, and it's just the beginning. I hope we may learn more about these companies soon. Sorry to break it to you, AdCam, but the reason they're getting so much done is because they got the government blessing. You know, who woke me up? Stephen Greer, like him or hate him, I'll give him credit that he woke me up. He had the 2001 press club briefing. We had all those people on stage saying that they were going to, this was, God, when did I actually discover that? In 2011? So like 10 years after that happened, I was like, why didn't the world end that? You know, that was so jaw-dropping and mind-blowing. And then nothing happened. It's because they didn't have the government blessing. To the Stars Academy does. And then another reply I want to show. This is CNO saying, shouldn't I invest in Lockheed? Why invest in the sales rep for military industrial complex, i.e. TTSA, when I can just invest in the real thing? TTSA is going to produce these machines that the military industrial complex has been reverse engineering for over 70 years. blow the whistle, Tom, and stop lying. So kudos to these people for tweeting directly at him. Usually when I look at Tom's response tweets, they're usually kissing his ass and whatever else, because these are his fans that are a little, let's just say they're not all that bright. I'm trying to be nice, but I shouldn't say it too bad, because I am a fan of a couple of the songs from Blink-182, but I grew up with that stuff. But that's his job. That's his job, to wake the people that don't understand this stuff up, and he's definitely been groomed for it. So today, before the show, he tweeted out again. He says, announcement at To the Stars Academy has partnered with TruClear Global to provide advanced technology solutions to the United States government. We plan to utilize their proprietary technology platform for potential life-saving applications. So this was really intriguing to me. He's going to partner with this company and bring this to the public. I was like, okay, so what is this company developing? And so Mike Jackson, I got to respond to this. Mike Jackson in the chat says TTSA is white hat. Prove me wrong. You may be right. You may not be right, Mike. But the thing I'm concerned about, when they keep pushing the threat narrative, the threat. What do we hear Warner von Braun say, that the last card was going to be the threat card from an alien outside force, so we can unite against that and come under a one world government. Very, very scary. But at the same time, I understand why they do the threat thing too, is because you have to have people get scared and have them to, because if you just said, you didn't make it so dramatic like a threat, people wouldn't really take it seriously. So that's something we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, you're responding something. Yeah, but come on, something unknown. ESP, the military must be considered a threat. Yeah, the military's been dealing with this whole thing for 60, 70 years. That's my response to that. So they know what's up already. They have liaisons with these extraterrestrial races, and they want to sit and push bullshit like this. So let me finish up with this. Because this company, okay, how does this whole thing going to work? I highlighted on a few lines here from TTSA's website. The TTSA team will use their understanding of needs of large contractors such as the U.S. government and create pathways to secure contracts based on highly specialized customer requirements. So kind of a little courtroom talk there, but so TTSA has identified TruClear's proprietary nanoscale material-based optical and imaging systems as their technology platform for potential life-saving applications. Okay, now this is in quotes from Luis Elizondo. The TTSA/TCG relationship represents our joint efforts to continue to satisfy nuanced government and civilian markets through unique and groundbreaking technology, says Luis Elizondo, Director of Special Programs at TTSA. TruClear's proven track record as an industry leader in photon projection technology and adaptive optical sensor technology enables TTSA to further enhance its technology suite. Okay. TruClear Global is pleased to combine capabilities with TTSA in order to explore mutually beneficial research and development opportunities, which also benefits the U.S. government. So what we have here, folks, is TTSA being a middleman liaison, if you will, to bring this technology to the government, which is kind of weird when you think about it. Number one, the government has this stuff already, and then they're going to use TTSA as a middleman because they have their connections with the people they got in the programs, like Hal Puthoff and all that stuff. So I went to TruClear's website. I wanted to see what the hell this was all about. Basically, unless there's something more hidden, that there's a prototype of something else that they haven't released yet. This looks like projection screens for like, it's like, what kind of technology is this? This is just like regular, like stuff you'd use at trade shows and stuff. So I don't understand. So they got custom displays, exterior displays, optical player, interior display. Maybe they've quote unquote discovered something, you know, whether it was given to them or whatever, to bring forth to TTSA, and then TTSA can go, oh, here you go, government, we got this for you. Kind of smells fishy to me. Again, this is all a front, I believe. I'll have to say that, for this long disclosure initiative, because then they can say, oh, this company developed this thing, we put it into this part of these fighter jets, because we got it from TTSA, who's being the liaisons for all these third parties, which is really weird, because it's like, why not just cut the damn middleman out? But whatever. This is the card they want to play. This is the card they're going to play. Very interesting myself to see that. So let's go on ahead and we'll switch over. Let's get some groove music and get down.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. So the other day I seen these surveillance balloons come up in the news that these were launched in the Midwest here. I was like, what the hell is this? So very interesting here. Pentagaon launching drug surveillance balloons over the Midwest. So we're going under the guise of it being for drug surveillance. So unmanned surveillance balloons are being launched from South Dakota to conduct surveillance over Midwest, prompting concerns about privacy violations. You think so? I would think so. So these are going to be solar powered. The balloons are launched to provide a persistent surveillance systems for narcotics trafficking and homeland security threats, according to a filing with the Federal Communications Commission. The FCC authorized the Sierra Nevada Corp, a Nevada-based national security and aerospace contractor, experimental special temporary authorization for the balloons on July 12th. So these have been up there almost a month already, getting close. So roughly 24 balloons, small balloons carrying radars that can track vehicles, will journey over Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Missouri, ending in Illinois. The contract expires on September 1st. So they got a maximum altitude of 65,000 feet. Balloons are carrying sensors and communication gear capable of detecting every vehicle in motion in a 25-mile range beneath the balloon. That's pretty scary stuff. I think I've always thought about, you know, we're kind of seeing it now. They're to the day where they can just put your name in a computer and boom, you're going to come up. It's going to tell you exactly where you are in real time. I was trying to look for pictures of these. I didn't see any. There was none in this article. I did a search, but there was some other balloons that they were showing. They appear to be white. So it's kind of like they're hidden in a way. And if my thing is, if you're going to, when you're launching them, I guess is when you'd have the issue about planes hitting them or whatever. Why can't they be have color, like red or something? You talk about safety, that these things are white. Yeah, these do get above plane altitude, but at the same time, when you're launching them and stuff, maybe they, I don't know. It just seems unsafe to me, a little fishy, if you will. And here we go. Remember the military's technology is way ahead of the civilian technology. So the technology was developed for battlefield activities such as finding improvised explosion devices in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it has migrated to civilian use without any oversight, according to Skarin. So they use the stuff over there, they test it, bring it over here and use it on their own citizens, whether it's for good or for bad. It's being done. And this goes right into my next article nicely, because the U.S. Army doubles down on direct energy weapons. I've talked about this before. I've showed articles on this before. The U.S. military, they actually shot that other drone down the other week. Thank you for the donation, Billy. Appreciate it. Says, I like donuts and boba. I'm going to buy some. So there's your shout out for the show. So direct energy weapons, you get them testing it over there. They used it. They tested it on a drone. Now they're going to double down on these things. Army officials just awarded contractors to weapon developers Northrop Grumman and Raytheon to develop direct energy weapons to attach to the tank like Stryker combat vehicle. The Army wants lasers to disable drones, rockets, and vehicles, a sign of high-tech turn modern warfare has taken. The time is now to get direct energy weapons to the battlefield, says the director of directed energy weapons development. So this is interesting too, because we hear about this stuff being used on 9/11. They've probably had this stuff for a long time. You know it. They've used it. Really interesting that there's vehicles and whatever else burning so far away from the World Trade Center, and you got paper right next to the World Trade Center. That's fine. People are speculating directed energy weapons. I covered the California fires on this show. So they're using that crap already, and now it's just being announced. The Army recognizes the need for directed energy laser weapons as part of the Army's modernization plan. This is no longer a research effort or demonstration effort. It is strategic combat capability, and we are on the right path to get in the soldiers' hands. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So there you have it, folks. They've tested it all. They're bringing this into the public domain. They're going to make it apparent for everyday people now, so because they obviously got stuff beyond this now. And it is scary, as Tim Jessica in the chat says. It's scary stuff. You don't want to do something what they agree with, they can just send this on you, and a lot of these weapons can't be traced. They'll knock you down, and his house what did they call it? Combustion or whatever. Combustion. The name escapes me. Internal combustion, whatever. It blows up. There's no way to track it. You have these droughts in California that have been going on for so long. And it's not anything. Yeah, it's probably been controlled. Like, the thing is, there's no evidence of it. It's very scary when it comes down to that. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go to a commercial break. Come back, I'm going to show that UFO video. We're going to get the conspiracy theories, domestic terror threat, and much, much more. Stay tuned.
Questioning your reality, questioning everything. You're listening to Talk is Cheap with Dan Hofeld.
Hello, planet Earth and beyond. Pete Hoblive from Talk is Cheap here, telling you to mark your calendars for August 8th through the 11th. We're heading west out to the ECETI Ranch. Dano, tell us what we're up to.
Yes. ECETI Ranch, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go see some UFOs, bring one in. We want to see this stuff for once and for all, because we always talk about it on here. Talk is cheap. It's time to go out and do something. August 8th through the 11th, ECETI Ranch. Go to ECETI.org. Check out accommodations, and we hope to see you there.
This is Shane Robinson with Unbiased and On the Fence, and you're listening to Talk is Cheap with Dan Hofeld.
Right now at the K2D4 Network store, we have exciting new products available. First, get your morning started right with the new coffee mugs and signature stickers. Check out the amazing new beach towel. Show your support for the broadcast, even while you're at the beach. The signature Talk is Cheap pillow, available in 3 colors: white, black, and the signature orange. Keep it simple with the Talk is Cheap poster, the same background that is used in the show. We also have the new Be the Change tee. Give people the reminder that change begins within. All available right now at the K2D4 Network store. Go to K2D4Network.com for more.
Hey guys, this is Carrie Walker from Alice Eats the Apple, and you are listening to Talk is Cheap with Dan Hofeld.
Live from the K2D4Network.com studios, it's Dan Hofeld.
Welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen, for this August 6th, 2019 edition of Talk is Cheap. Yes, yes, yes. Crazy, crazy world. I was reading the chat during the break, and I wanted to mention this from Donald Hill. He says, I was in Iraq, and where I was faced, we had 2 locations of where drones were being deployed from. Just saying that I've seen some of the technology used firsthand. Yeah, I am sure that's crazy stuff that you got to witness, and it's crazy stuff. Thanks, Donald, for the donation also. Much appreciated. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we got some conspiracy stuff. FBI going after conspiracy theories. Should we do a little news alert on this one? Exclusive. FBI documents warns conspiracy theorists are a new domestic terrorism threat. Great. So now they want to lump anybody who questions stuff in here as a threat. And this is what this all is. It's acclamationing the public to say, hey, if you think out that way, and they're trying to control people already with the damn media, CNN, look what happened with the shootings that took place. Immediately, it's white nationalists, demonize him, throw it on Trump. He ain't doing enough. So the FBI, for the first time, has identified fringe conspiracy theories as a domestic terrorist threat, according to a previously unpublicized document obtained by Yahoo News. So the bulletin from the Bureau's Phoenix field office, dated May 30th, 2019, describes conspiracy theory-driven domestic extremists as a growing threat and notes that it is the first such report to do so. The document specifically mentions QAnon, a shadowy network that believes in a deep state conspiracy against President Trump and Pizzagate, the theory that a pedophile ring, including Clinton's associates, was being run out of a basement of Washington, D.C. pizza restaurant, which didn't actually have a basement. So again, lump that all together. I believe Pizzagate was real. I'm sure I'm going to get flagged for saying that now. But it's not kosher to talk about. Of course, there's a deep state against Trump. It's obvious. Anybody who looks at it, it's there. The media is after him left and right. You can do something good and they can demonize it. I think that's kind of a coordinated effort, if you ask me. FBI believes conspiracy theory-driven extremists are likely to increase during the 2020 presidential election cycle. Well, you think with all the fake news that you guys are going to be pushing out that we're going to try to push back a little bit? Of course we are. And it gets into QAnon here. QAnon is the conspiratorial belief that Q, allegedly a government official, posts classified information online to reveal a covert effort led by President Trump to dismantle a conspiracy involving deep state actors and global elites allegedly engaging in an international child sex trafficking ring. Duh. It is. We had, who else come out? We had Allison Mack, who is recruiting all those young girls. We had Jeffrey Epstein just being arrested for it. The list goes on and on. It's all in Hollywood. Oh, but that's just a conspiracy. I don't think so, folks. This stuff is deep. And they're just going to lump everything together in here, demonize it, because that's what they do best. So I don't know what Trump's plan is to combat this stuff. This is getting so terrible. Some people are out of their minds, like to bring them back to logical common sense after they've gone so far to crazy land. I don't know. It's like you're going to need like a rebranding. And I think Trump has actually alluded to this, a rebranding of the news. Like, and how would you do that? Because the whole idea was a free press was anybody can do it. They can make their own and report the news, would you? I don't know. When you start getting to the point where if somebody comes out with a fake news report and they can be fined for it, I don't know, because then you rely on the government to say what's real. It gets really muddy real quick, and it's kind of scary. But yeah, I don't know. This is going to be very interesting on how he straightens this whole thing out from that standpoint. I wanted to mention too, during the break, folks, the phone lines went down and whatever. I can't take phone calls. If you were going to call in during this show, I apologize for that. But stuff happens. I did have some internet trouble yesterday, and I tried to get it all worked out. That's actually why I had a little bit of a late start today, was because the internet, I didn't plug the cable back in, so I had to run in the other room quick before the show. But it does happen. So okay, let's get on to this crazy UFO video, folks.
All fake.
All fake. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I saw this video. Of course, this is on Daily Star, so you can only take what they do with a grain of salt. But I kind of think of these websites kind of as like the hot sheets for like in the Men in Black. But this is an interesting video, and this does appear to be a TR-3B. Definitely a military back-engineered craft that I've covered on this show multiple times. I'm going to play this clip here. We'll watch it. The language does get a little hectic, so
I don't know
just a
if
fair
anybody
warning.
else can see this, but that looks like a UFO. Is that not? Is that not a UFO? Or like a giant like drone or something? Oh my god, what the
So yeah, a little excited there, as we'd all be. That looked like a pretty good TR-3B to me. That, like, I don't see that being fake. But who knows? Just thought that was interesting to show, because we always these should be becoming more commonplace now that things are going to start being more open. Brant Rogers in the chat says, "Hey Dan, what's a good web search engine to look up real news?" I have recently, let me get on the other. I have recently switched to DuckDuckGo. That was because Google has pissed me off, beyond pissed me off. So I have switched to DuckDuckGo because when I found out they're filtering my search results with mainstream stuff and what's the other? Oh man, the other truth one just escapes me again. I don't know why that is. When I'm on air, something just leaves my head like that. The oh, somebody in the chat will know it, because I want these people to be brought to justice. The George Soros funded real or fake, what the hell is it called? Come on, somebody in the chat, bring it up. This is your time to shine. Man, it escapes me. Anyway, I got sick of the censorship, folks. Because if I'm typing something and then you're bringing up what you think I should see, Snopes, thank you very much, Joe. Appreciate it. That's what it was, Snopes. But if I'm looking up something and you're changing it, it's like, I want to see the unfiltered result. That's what it's about. You remember when Google used to be good? You could search stuff, find it. YouTube, your related videos would be stuff that you would watch, and it just kept going on and on. Those days are gone. And it's so sad, because a lot of channels are suffering from it, and it's always a one-way thing here. It's all about their censorship, and they're doubling down on it. So I don't know how that's going to come out, but as Trump said at the beginning of the show, when I mentioned he is watching Google closely. Okay. Got a couple more articles I want to hit here. I want some more music to energize me.
Now, changing subjects a little bit.
So, I've talked about 3D printing of buildings and how much this will change the world. My news cycle, this has come up again. So why Dubai wants to become a 3D printed city. Think about that. A whole 3D printed city, ladies and gentlemen. Like, we're talking cheap cost of living, easy, like simple, quick. These things can work at night when you're sleeping. So 3D printing is rapidly developing into a technology that can make anything from body parts to bread. I've covered that. I've talked about them printing these hearts. And we know that the food's starting to come a reality. Like, give it a few years. Where is this stuff going to be? We're going to start, like, this is basically, and we can see it right now, our step before they can bring in, like, the materializers. Because you'll have 3D printed. I can 3D print a steak or a food or a donut, whatever. But to do a materialization, which we know they have in these MIC projects, see, that'll be a lot easier for people to understand. It's a nice stepping stone. It's perfect. So around 20 buildings have been created this way worldwide. Target of having a quarter of all new buildings 3D printed by 2030. I thought it would have been a little more than that, but I guess quarter is pretty good. 3D printing a building uses the same principle as a 3D printing a toy, just at a much larger scale and using concrete instead of plastic. Concrete is pumped into nozzles attached to a robotic arm, rail, or conveyor belt, which squeezes it out in strips to build up the structure one layer at a time or make component parts. I showed that video on here before. Very cool stuff. So Smear Tech Publishing predicts the 3D printed construction industry will be worth $40 billion by 2027. And if you're like, I know it's still early yet, but if you're like a contractor who builds buildings, seriously, like, look into stuff like this. I know it's going to be expensive, but at least start thinking about it and trying to switch that way, because this is going to take off and it's going to be the only way to do things in the future. I think it'll solve a housing crisis tremendously. Biggest savings in Europe or US where labor is expensive. That's so true. And this is one I had to show. I'm a little disappointed in this, but we are talking about just new technology here, folks. World's first 3D printed office reportedly only costs $140,000. These are tiny buildings. I don't think they should cost $140,000. They should be more like 10, 20 tops. Like, that's the whole point of these things. Let's have some cheap living. There's no reason houses should be as expensive as they are. That's why people just kind of like live like not as good as we could or should be, whatever. These are some of these 3D printed ones are like little huts like you would see in Africa or something, but I'm sure they still cost a lot. Again, once the technology gets more out there and going, you'd see costs come down. Yeah, as the article says here, as printers improve and become mobile, construction will become cheaper and there will be more opportunity for customization. Here's an interesting picture. So we've only saw like one story 3D printed buildings. Now this is just a drawing, of course, but we could see them doing like 2 and 3 stories here, which will really be interesting. Again, these don't look like your typical house. They look kind of, I don't know, like futuristic / different worldish, I guess is probably a good way to put it. And of course, potential goes beyond just printing buildings. You can do benches, pavement, car parks, sewage tanks, channel systems, oil pipelines. So, we talked about the Venus project on the show. We've had the 2 speakers on. The fact that you could set up like a long, I don't know if anybody's seen these, where they got these like for crops, irrigation. They'll put the water things on and then just spin in a circle and spray the crops. Well, think about having a printing system like that. And that's why they had the cities, I think, in circular on the Venus project. You could start it there and it would just 3D print as it goes around, and it'd 3D print a whole city at once. We're talking like a massive scale. Crazy stuff, but it's like, yeah, now we can see how that can be possible. I definitely love stuff like this because, again, it should be simple and easy. We'll resale value, but then you get to the point of where's the point of money? There is not much point of money. I think that'll go away. eventually. Tim Jessica in the chat says Dan could set up a post board on the K2D4 website. I was thinking about it. I guess if we had bigger numbers, I would maybe do it. I know Shane Robinson has one on his. It's something I'll consider, I guess, in the future. Yeah, it also has to be really moderated, because we did have one up on my, well, this was many years ago, our band's website, and it got like spammed, like somehow something got in there, and then there was just all these ridiculous posts that just, if it's not policed, it can get out of control real quickly. And that's the other thing. If it's a big platform, that's a lot of policing to do. So I guess I would have to have moderators like we do on the live stream here. But so, all right, I'm gonna do one more article, and then we'll cut to my announcement, and then we'll call it a wrap for the day.
You're not a nice person.
This is scary stuff here, folks. Body found behind cooler in abandoned grocery store is man who went missing 9 years ago. Police said the man climbed on top of the coolers at an Iowa store in late 2009 and fell into a gap, with shoppers apparently passing by his body for years. Questions spring to mind right away, because like, okay, bodies decompose and all that stuff, so wouldn't it start smelling, number one, especially if you're behind a cooler, because you know those shoot out warm air, and it's going to kick that in the air, people are going to smell it. Very suspicious, but I don't know. So the body of a missing man lingered behind coolers in an Iowa supermarket for more than 9 years. It was discovered earlier this year. The body was discovered in January when workers were removing shelves from an abandoned no-frills supermarket in Council Bluffs. It has been closed down for a while, and his body was still back there. Authorities said then that it appeared to have been there for several years. Investigators said they believed that Murlo Mancada, who worked at the store, climbed on top of the coolers in late November 2009 and fell into a gap of about 18 inches between the coolers and wall. He was trapped and died there, authorities said. His body apparently stayed behind the cooler for almost a decade, including more than 6 years that the store remained open as shoppers passed by until it was closed in 2016. So from 2016 until 2019 is when his carcass was sitting there with no one in the store. So I don't know. Did he snap his neck? And then it doesn't get into that detail, because the thing is, if you fell, couldn't you like yell help, or you know, maybe it's late at night, you couldn't, but you'd still survive for a little while until, I don't know, maybe he was taking a nap up there and then rolled over and fell in. Yeah, exactly, Joe. How did it not stink? It's got me mind boggled, because if you're behind a cooler, you know, they blow out hot air. The body would warm up, and yeah, I don't know. It's very, very interesting, to say the least. So yeah, that was about all I wanted to cover for today. I got to make an announcement here. So when I originally started this weekly show, folks, started at the beginning of this year. I wanted to, well, before this, it actually started happening in September. The numbers have been taking a dive on YouTube. That's something I look at. Viewership is currency on YouTube, or the creators. That's what we look at. That's how we measure success. You know, take it for what it is. That's how it's done. Those were taking a dive in September. It started happening. That's when I found out Google started censoring the, you know, recommended videos on the right side. So I was like, all right, what can I do to revive this channel? I was like, all right, I'm going to make a, you know, do a weekly show. Try to pump some juice back into it. And it did work for a little while. The numbers came back up and I was fine. You know, hitting that 1,000 threshold is what I usually like to see per video. But lately that has dived down again. And it's very hard to stay legit, like, what's the word that I'm looking for? Current with YouTube, like whatever, it escapes my head. But anyway, the numbers are taking a dive. So I have decided to take an indefinite hiatus from this weekly show. This is the Talk is Cheap show that we do Tuesdays. I'm going to take a indefinite hiatus. I could bring it back at any time. We'll still have the regular show with the panel, Dusty, Pete. We'll still do that live one because we record 3 at a time. I'll still do that first segment with them live. So I'd still love to see you guys in the chat. Of course, that'll be scheduled. And you can still engage in your friendly talk that I love to talk with you guys about. Call in, all that good stuff will be available there. That's not to say that I couldn't pop out here once in a while and do a live one. I'm going to work on, try to do quality this time versus quantity. I was quality before and then switched into quantity. And now I got to go back again because of YouTube's forcing my hand. This is what I got to do. It takes a lot of time and effort to prep for the show. And oh, here comes a super chat right now. I appreciate that, Donald. Yeah, these channels need it. Things can die down real quick, and I'm seeing the, it's like seeing the death, but we're not there yet. I'm not saying I'm pulling the plug on this whole channel. I worked too hard to get rid of it, but I'm still gonna do the regular show, like I said. Do special reports like I used to do. And it would have been a good instant, like with Tom DeLong when that stuff came out today. Put a short video together. Got to remember, people's attention spans are very short, ladies and gentlemen. So I'll put a short video together, make a clickable thumbnail. That's another thing I don't like doing. You have to make the thumbnail so people click on them. I don't like deceiving people. And to an extent, I'm kind of not, but it's ridiculous how it's gotten. And speaking of ridiculous, I want to mention this YouTube channel. I don't like to bash other YouTube channels, but just because of what I'm talking about right now, there's this Apex TV. I'm sure you guys know about it. He says he has time travelers on. This is all fake. The guy's got 1.1 million subscribers. He just finds his friends, younger people, to make the stuff up. Look at his views. It's crazy stuff. And it's all fake. And channels like that take off. Again, hate to complain, but it is what it is. Again, Patreon supporters, I think we only got 2 at the moment. I understand if you don't want to contribute anymore, it's fine. You've contributed a lot. It helps. Like I said, I will focus on quality, trying to do more B-roll in those other videos with Pete and Dusty and those other ones. And of course, the ECETI trip as well. I'll be out there. I plan on doing maybe a live stream out there or getting some damn good footage, recording it, putting a nice video together for you to watch. So definitely going to be sticking around, and I'll still be here. So I ain't going anywhere. It's kind of like it's sad, but it's not at the same time because I'm still here. It's just like I said, the every Tuesday show. It got to be a kind of a grind, and then when you're seeing views under 5, it's like, and the people that are going to hurt the most is, you guys in the chat and even the podcast listeners, because I put that out there as well, and they won't get their weekly audio anymore like I've been putting out. Night Saber says, "Can you do more Weber Cooks?" I was thinking about it. I'll have to see. It takes a couple people to do that one, so I'd have to round up another set of hands for it. So definitely appreciate your support, guys. Like I said, it was a blessing to be here, and thank you for all you do. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, again, ECETI Trip. I'm excited for it. I'll be flying out Thursday. We'll be hitting there about Thursday evening. Get a bunch of video footage, live stream, and meet some of you. I would like to, if you're willing to talk on camera, talk about your experience. Maybe like the first day, we'll just take it all in. I'll record some of the UFOs, and then the second day you can talk about the experience. If you wish to, let me know. Come up and talk to me, because I made the mistake down in Sedona of shoving the microphone in people's faces, and they didn't take it too well. So I'm trying not to do that. But yeah, so let me know if you want to be on camera and just come up to me, and I would love to have you say some words. and I'll put a nice montage together and get it up on YouTube. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I guess we will, I see you at ECETI, I guess. We'll stick with that. All right. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. Visit k2d4network.com today.